Welcome back to Fire Emblem Engage. Last time, we acquired the Bracelet of the Ancestor. And we'll be heading out to a new Divine Paralog this time, but first, I just want to get a couple of level ups and level up Tiki on who I plan on using her with. I did not know those two supported, okay. I realize I say that a lot in the arena. So, who will I train with Tiki? Well, I had an idea, and it's a bit of a meme. Amber is so powerful, he's already practically a dragon. So, let's complete the transformation.
Will you come play with me?
They'll write about this in history books for sure!
Yes, the time that you one-shotted an actual dragon.
A divine dragon from another world! It's the essence of a dream! Tell me more about you!
Sure. I'll tell you lots and lots about me. Then you can tell me all about you.
And so Tiki was forced to listen to weird stories about alpacas.
I'm Tiki, of the Divine Dragon Tribe.
The more I hear about your world, the more in awe I am of getting to be here with you.
I'm excited to be here with you, too. Hey, what are we going to talk about today?
This one is actually pretty wholesome. Makes me wonder what Amber would think about Marth's world, but I guess it is one of the most sort of classical fantasy of all of them, and there's a lot of different types of dragons. I think he'd probably find that, although Merrin would find that even cooler. Now, like I alluded to, you don't really need to be super high bond level with Tiki to get the most out of her, but I would recommend getting strong bond at least, because that's one extra turn of being a dragon.
Tiki!
Leave it to me.
And I've actually learned a few skills on Amber off camera to facilitate this. So without Ike, I wanted to make sure I'd inherited Wrath. And I also got Vantage++ from Leaf. Now this Wrath combined with Tiki's Eternal Claw, that might be really fun.
Welcome.
Okay, they comment on you having the silver card. And that's convenient because I need to buy a second seal.
I thank you.
2 Loop Lapis and Wyvern Knight. So after beating Tiki's Paralog, you might notice a lot of different lines will open up on this map here. So you could actually do the rest of the Divine Paralogs in any order. But as they were released in batches of 2, I'm going to be covering all of them in release order, which is also the order that I personally prefer to do them in. And you can also recall the expansion pass battles. You can repeat recall battles as much as you like with any combination of allies. You will not earn experience or items from these battles. And people are restored from death afterwards. So I guess, I don't know really what the point of this is. It's probably because, you know, you paid actual money for these. They don't want you to just only be able to play them once. But the fact that you don't earn experience from repeat attempts is kind of, not, I don't know, the best, especially since, again, if you paid actual money for these, I mean, there's no real grinding DLC in this game anyway, and grinding experience on unused characters in skirmishes is actually quite hard due to the scaling. So, yeah, if anything, this is a good opportunity to actually have some grinding, though, again, I do hate when that's often locked behind DLC. But anyway, Divine Paralog Berserker's Hollow. You will have already known from the video title, but this is where we're going today. Also, don't worry, the miasma that description is talking about is not Engage miasma. The Brash General.
Look, there's another bracelet friend right over here.
You're right. Is this the bracelet of the Brash General?
Kinda looks like it's just part of his armor.
Yes. I think the emblem is asleep, just as I was. Will you wake him up?
The words came to me as soon as I laid eyes on it. Let's give them a try. Embolden us, Emblem of Strength.
Emblem of Strength. Does that mean this emblem contains the legendary Grappler Hanneman? No, it's just Hector. Think of Hector as an alternative tanking emblem to Ike. And very much like his own game, but atypical of Engage, he is all about that enemy phase. Unlike Ike, his user wants to stay at high HP, because at above 80%, his first sync skill Quick Riposte allows them to always double attack on the enemy phase, provided they're not using a smash weapon or thunder or something like that. Obviously this is better on slower characters who would not otherwise be doubling, as it won't make someone who's already doubling attack more times. At Bond 3 you get Adaptability, which raises defense by 2 or resistance by 2 based on whether you just took a physical or magical attack. This lasts for the rest of the battle, but it will reset if you're attacked again, so only one of these can be active at any time. At Bond 8, Hector channels the woes of every enemy in his home game with heavy attack, encouraging you to wield weapons much higher than your weight class. For every point your weapon's weight exceeds your build, you deal +1 damage to a maximum of +5. Now, if you're looking at the rest of this bio, you'll notice one serious problem with this skill. Hector himself raises build, which makes it a little counterintuitive on him, though it can be inherited to characters not using him. It's often said that this can benefit Tamara, but that's probably not a point in her favour. While engaged, Hector bestows the skill Impenetrable, which grants defense and resistance plus 30% when the enemy initiates combat. Again, all about that enemy phase tanking. Armored units get plus 50% defense instead of 30, and flyers get plus 50% resistance instead of 30, though they still get the plus 30% to the other defensive stat. Cavalry units get immunity to freeze, while dragons get a pretty nice critical avoid plus 50, which in practice means almost nothing can crit them. His engage attack is Storm's Eye, and much like Ike, this is a skill that you use to move into position and dig in for the enemy phase, rather than unleashing an immediate attack, though it works a bit differently. Instead of striking at the end of the turn, you instead get break immunity, and whenever an enemy attacks you, they cannot double you, but you will always double them. Again, good on low speed characters who would otherwise be taking a lot of double attacks, or would not be doubling themselves. Dragons get to prevent 1 critical hit, which in practice, not much is going to get through that plus 50 critical avoid anyway. Backup units get crit plus 20 to their own attacks, actually very nice when you're always hitting twice. Coverts get avoid plus 30, which is a little redundant with the boost to defenses Impenetrable is giving you. And if Lyn is adjacent, you strike before the enemy counterattacks, and always double. Though if Lyn's user is adjacent, they're probably a more tempting target for enemies than Hector's user would be, so you'll need a strategy to make sure they still go for Hector. Though I already see potential in using this on a low resistance armored unit, tempting foolish AI mages into attacking and getting one-shotted before they have a chance to strike. For engaged weapons, Hector brings the classic Wolf Bale, which has the exact same stats it did on Game Boy Advance, effective against cavalry and armored units, and a nice amount of might for an effective weapon. At Bond 10, he gives a rune sword? Not the weapon I'd associate with Hector, and a magic weapon is not what I usually want on someone using Emblem Hector, but I suppose Hector can make a good resistance tank, so maybe mages could get something out of this. And draining HP does work well with his tanking skills, and keeping Quick Riposte in effect. Speaking of which, Quick Riposte only requires 60% HP or more at Bond level 16, at Bond level 19, Adaptability's boost improves to plus 3 defense or resistance, but at Bond level 12 you get a new sync skill that is very interesting, Piercing Glare. You must be at full health to use this, and it consumes 20% of your max HP. But when used, it makes all spaces diagonally adjacent to the user, so up to 4, impassable to enemies. There's several uses for this, from protecting vulnerable allies to sealing off entire avenues of attack. Get creative. And for his Bond 15 weapon, what else but the legendary Lightning Helicopter Axe Armads. Great might, good accuracy for an axe, 18 weight, but that may be a strength with heavy attack. Defense on top of the bulk he already gives you, And as much as I like to rag on dragon effectiveness, if you've got Hector, you've got the DLC, and the DLC maps are full of phantom worms and phantom wyverns, which are weak to dragon slaying weapons. Stupid fell dragon corrupted worms. Hector's stat bonuses cap out at +4 strength, +5 defense, and +3 build. For Hector's inheritance, he obviously gives axe proficiency, but nothing else, and his stat bonus is strength and defense. Great, but very expensive. His guard skill is axe guard, but the rest of his inheritance is mainly notable for quick riposte. Its cost is fairly achievable via SP books, and it can be decent for someone who sees a lot of enemy phase but has trouble doubling. There's also heavy attack, which can be okay on people with build issues, I guess, and also adaptability. Although it might not seem like much, it's very cheap to get. What's notable though is what's missing. You can't inherit piercing glare, so Hector's bracelet holder has that unique ability to shut down enemy movement. Overall, Hector is geared towards luring and tanking on the enemy phase. The problem is, this is not something Engage's map design encourages, so you may have to work to find decent uses for him.
Ah, what a refreshing rest. Hey there, I'm Hector. Was it you who woke me up?
I'd just like to remind everyone, this guy is canonically 17 years old.
Yes, it was. Greetings, Hector. I'm the Divine Dragon.
Good to meet you. Whew, sure is nice to move around again.
I'm surprised he's not reacting differently to the term Divine Dragon, because, the world that he comes from, dragons are treated very differently to how they are in the rest of the games. They're not commonplace.
You must have had a reason to come looking for me, though.
And the very idea of one being divine would kind of be alien in that world.
This world is engulfed in a terrible war. We're trying to put a stop to it. To that end, we were hoping you might lend us your strength.
Well, I've got a good feeling about you. Looks like you've got grit, just like he did.
That's actually kind of funny that you're mentioning grit because your voice actor plays Olaf in Advance Wars now.
May I ask who you're talking about?
My good friend Eliwood.
Who isn't here for some reason. A lot of people don't like the fact that he's not really in this game as an emblem, but I feel like it would be very hard to differentiate him from Marth and Roy. He's really just another sword lord.
In my world, he fought to bring us back from the brink of disaster, like you're doing. Our fight was against a rotten bunch called the Black Fang. They were a real handful. For Eliwood, Lynn, and me, and all our other friends, it was the fight of our lives.
I guess this is sort of the first time he's realizing that he knows Lynn.
They must have been glad to have someone like you on their side.
Well, no need to butter me up. You need help, that's enough for me. But first, let's have ourselves a friendly little competition.
What do you mean?
It's been a while since I've seen any action. I want to get the measure of you in battle.
Now, that first sentence actually resonates with me a lot. I feel like Hector used to be one of the most popular lords in the franchise, and then he got overshadowed by Ike and later Crom and even later Dimitri, and people just don't really talk about Hector that much anymore. So I'm really glad that he got into this game as DLC. It's nice to see him get more attention.
I understand. If that's what you want, then I'm ready to show you what I can do.
It's settled then. Brace yourself.
Though it does kind of make me wish that, Warriors had more FE7 representation than just Lynn. I kind of feel like she only got in because waifu bias, but that's beside the point. Like, Hector and Warriors would have been fun. I think, like, the only, axe representation was Frederick, Camilla, and Lissa, of all people. But okay. This map right here, this is based on the Berserker, a Hector mode exclusive chapter from Fire Emblem 7, and you have these vents here. Everything in a direct line with them will get poisoned at the start of, I believe, the enemy phase. So, the poison, unlike in FE7, doesn't damage you, but instead it will increase the damage you take from enemy attacks. We've got an enemy here with a droppable, yeah, there are a few droppable antitoxins on this map, so really, in fact, a lot of things have antitoxins, so they really, like, there's a lot of ways to deal with this, poison. The poison can stack up surprisingly fast, though. So you do have to be careful. Now, you can kind of skip most of this map just by cutting through here, but you will want to grab the chests up in the north, but you might want to send a smaller party that way. Yeah, basically everything with a drawable item is a drawable antitoxin here. And then we also have good old Hector himself, the master of Oho! And he, yes, he is considered fully an armored unit, which means that he's immune to break and he is weak to armor-slaying weapons. He's not like a light armor unit like Edelgard is. She's weak to armor-slaying weapons in the arena, but she's still considered backup. And then there's Ike, who is considered an armored unit, but is not weak to armor-slaying weapons. Emblems are weird. But he has the Wolfbale Rune Sword, which actually does okay damage, and of course, this thing. But the main thing to worry about is quick riposte. You don't want him attacking you, because then he's gonna, you know, double attack. And also he's got Storm's Eye. His defense is pretty crazy, and he has a lot of health, and his build is capped, so you do want to face him with magic rather than physical. Yeah, on that note, I think I am going to go with a mage-heavy party here. Vale Clan and Jean. Bring in Amber. Oh yeah, probably want to bring Restore Staves. Okay, let's get moving.
Let's get started. Come at me, and don't hold back!
Speaking of moving, Hector's like one of the few lords who doesn't gain movement on promotion, so yeah.
There appears to be a fog-like substance emanating from over there. Be on your guard.
This map has balloon gas! Yeah, Tecmo Secret of the Stars reference. I watched Maryland play that. It's a very old, bad RPG, but it has an obsession with enemies blowing gas. But okay. It's very weird hearing Wind Across the Plains playing for this. But here's the issue. I wanted to have Amber go on a dragon rampage. The problem with that is there are a lot of backup fighters up there. Yeah, Tiki's not really going to do too well against backup attacks. And most of them have range weapons too, which Tiki's also not going to do well against.
Let's hear it.
So I think first up, yeah, let's just Bolganone this guy. That mage up there north of this general, it's giving me traumatic flashbacks to my first Iron Man of, yes, the first time I ever Iron Man'd Blazing Sword, I did it on Hector Hard mode, and I actually made it all the way to this chapter, but this was the chapter where my Iron Man ended.
Ready to serve.
Yeah. Basically, see, the thing that I personally find really annoying about this chapter in its original appearance is, on Hector Hard, you can only bring 2 people, and even on normal, I think you can only bring 3. It's Hector and 2 other allies.
Sort of like that.
And one of them probably needs to be a thief because you want to open the chest as well, so it's pretty brutal, honestly. Now, does that Mage Knight have... Nope, it does not have a magic... it does not have a physical weapon, should I say. And I can actually canter out of the yucky gunk, so that's cool. So... Oh, okay, I straight up obliterate you even without engaging. But, I mean...
Let's go together.
Seems like Lapis is a little biased towards Dimitri, and I guess that makes me like her. I specifically engaged because I thought Feanort would give me more accuracy, but it actually gave me less. Oh, well. Now, I would say I'm getting weapon sync because Dimitri, but
Is that all?
if you're engaged, then yeah. Also, I'm pretty sure is that all is a Dimitri quote. I think it does depend on which of the 3 lords you are, you're currently, on. Actually, I'm not opposed to Lapis getting hit by that. The real issue right now is this mess. You're not really under a whole ton of time pressure on this map, though. Okay, and the hero can actually reach Jean right now. Although I just had something of a weird idea.
Emblem engage.
It's Alpaca Dragon time, but not for attacking. Actually, I want to do this.
I'll be good.
Kind of.
Yeah, for some reason Zelkov says die when he does that. I'm not sure why.
I'll do my best.
But yeah, now I engage plus.
Emblem Eternal.
Yeah, Bonded Shield will not help with all of the chain attacks. So now I have an Alir who is in Emblem Eternal mode and has a Revival Stone. So I hope this isn't going to end in horrible disaster. We'll see. I thought it's up to +2, and it's still not really being that great. I think, though, the main reason is just because, Alear doesn't really have great combat stats in this run. I think Ivy's gonna go with the North group, and I actually don't know who to dance for. Suppose we can, have the, well, not so much the dancing, that is a weird pose. The Dancing Dragon Dungeon, or rather the, Danced for Dragon Dungeon. Okay, nice dodge on the breaky there. This cave does look really nice. Ah, that was not what I was hoping for, though, because that means that one of the enemies lured into clan won't die. But okay then, right. I mean, Alear is pretty physically bulky. And it's not like this revival zone is temporary. It's going to last for the rest of the entire map. Speaking of breaky, though. I mean, that's horrible accuracy. Huh, I wonder if I might be able to get a good fire breath going here. Okay, that was a lot more damage to Lapis than I expected.
Is that all?
Thankfully, I do have healing up here, but yeah. I was like, oh yeah, Lapis, she's our girl, she's got really good resistance, but no. Now, I'm gonna actually have to stop using, like, I only really want one mage up in the north, because I want most of my mages to be going for Hector.
They're strong.
Yes, indeed, they are. Okay, I actually do one round you with this, but I am gonna have to heal, probably. As a case of just the infamous,
Is that all?
that happened quite a lot in I believe in the Yggdrasil games, where, like, you knock an Armor Knight really far away, and then it ends up just, being like, it takes forever to get back into position. But yeah, like, that was, again, particularly bad in the Yggdrasil games, where, like, oftentimes they'd be all the way on the other side, especially in the arena, I found, when they were, like, all the way on the other side of the battlefield, and then they just go clingy all the way back across. It's just kind of funny. Oh, right, yeah, I probably should give Clan a physical weapon. I keep forgetting to do that. I mean, he has them with Corrin, but I'd like him to have one all the time. I was gonna say it's kind of funny that we've got, like, Mage Knights here, since they weren't really a thing in the GBA games, but they were. You know, they were called Valkyries, but that's basically how Valkyries work there. So, if I Flam Breath here... Oh yeah, it's one tile and then two. So, technically speaking, I want to go here, and then I'd be able to hit all of them. But that will require Seedol. And unfortunately, if I use Eternal Claw, you just straight up die, so, eh. Right. But I do want to just get the satisfaction of having that Flame Breath kill all of them at once. Still, that is still a very strange-looking pose. Oh yeah, by the way, Flame Breath, like in all the breaths for Tiki, they don't have Friendly Fire. I found that out in testing. Yeah, that should kill all three of them. Wait, no, it won't kill you. Just barely. However, if I put... Really? Or oh well. I mean, it's kind of the same difference if I end up, if Alear ends up finishing you off. And there we go! Just set that space on fire. I don't believe he got experience, though, for the other two. Yeah, like, as you can tell, I don't actually have a ton of experience using Emblem Tiki. Though, in a test run of this, on another post-game file...
Sleep now.
Oh, that's actually kind of cool that,
This time, victory
you chain
was
attacks with the Fire Breath. Not like it makes any difference to damage, but still. Oh, and he's getting poisoned. Yeah, you do have to be kind of careful here. It's very easy to accidentally end up in range of the poison. But what I was saying was that... Oh, yes, I do need to heal Lapis. I need to start getting you back here. Yeah, if you just get attacked by one physical enemy, you're fine. In that test file, I actually had a lot of fun using Tiki on, of all people, Timera. For one, she could really use the boosted growth rates. Oh, that's also poison. And I knew Vale was getting poisoned. There was no way to avoid that.
It seems to be poisonous. Be careful.
Some enemies will end up getting poisoned later here too. But yeah. But it essentially gave her enormous defense to fuel Sandstorm, and also that +5 on Dex meant that her, like, Sandstorm rate was like 45%, and also Eternal Claw for its crit rate. So, like, overall, actually pretty solid.
Be a hero. We'll be together forever.
Okay, right, I'm not regretting this at all. I suppose I can get rid of the Tomahawk. But yeah, as you can see there, I think that's actually my first time demonstrating Vantage alongside a quote-unquote smash weapon. I say quote-unquote because it's not like an actual smash weapon, but it acts like one in that it always strikes last. But yeah, it only always strikes last on the player phase. So for example, if I were to use Tail Smash here, it doesn't actually kill you though, so I probably should use Eternal Claw.
My legend starts now. I'm getting sleepy.
Yeah, Tiki's quotes are, interesting. Not quite as interesting as some of the other DLC Emblem quotes, which we'll be seeing later, but, no, actually, I don't think Aaliyah was poisoned. It is easy to lose track of who is poisoned and who isn't on this map. It's just like that one map of the Lagdo Ruins and Sacred Stones, where I did a version of Everything is Awesome from the Lego Movie, except it was Everyone is Poisoned. I think I'll just grab this chest with Aaliyah. Pure Water. That was actually an item in the GBA games, and one of those that I really wish I'd use more. Also, Amber's getting poisoned again. Unless... I mean, he's getting like 1 stack of poison regardless. Wait, I did not realize Restore was 3 range in this game.
I owe you my life.
That is actually... I didn't know that. Okay, wow, what a time to learn that for the first time. But yeah, honestly, I like Restore being long range. Like, sometimes it feels odd, it feels very restrictive when Restore ends up requiring you to stand fully adjacent to somebody. Okay, I don't really want it. We've established that I didn't want to send Clan that way. So let's burst you down. I'm thinking it'll be just Lapis and, wow.
Is that all?
I almost called Ivy Camilla. Well, I mean... Well, let's just say that we might see that later. Yeah, unfortunately, we don't actually have Strength and Dex +5. That's just a, you know... It's an inheritable skill. Oh, right, I did want to send Veil this way as well, I think. As, like, extra backup. But Clan will be heading back this way. And Amber gets poisoned again. Apparently he wasn't in enough of an HP threshold to use Vantage there. Oh yeah, the Thieves do kind of prioritize the chests, as is pretty typical for Thieves. Well, I mean, if you've only got 1 turn left on your engage, you might as well use Dragon Blast. And solo Dragon Blast, go!
I am guided by the emblems.
I guess if I'm using, like, physical weapons, I might get a chance... If I use Aaliyah's, if I use Dragon's Fist, I might actually get a chance to show off Aaliyah's, because, yeah, one thing that often people like to, have reminded me about regarding Aaliyah is that in the Divine Dragon class only, their fist weapons have, like, a unique critical animation where he uses, like, a Kamehameha beam. Wow, I'm kind of weird in that I really have only watched a little bit of Dragon Ball in my lifetime, and it was like, oh yeah, that's it, I'm sure I've told this story before. The first and only Dragon Ball episode that I ever watched was the Spirit Bomb episode. So that probably wasn't a very good first impression. Like, I mean the episode where Goku spends the whole episode charging the Spirit Bomb, and then I remember there being some, like, sort of, like, side content where Captain Ginyu and the Ginyu Force are fighting, and just being comic relief. But other than that, it is just Goku, charging the Spirit Bomb for an entire episode. And that was my only exposure. Like, I collected a lot of the merchandise, because a lot of kids at school did at the time. But I think my parents kind of considered that, like, it too violent for me at the time, I think. But I mean, admittedly, they probably would have been right. Like, it was, for what I remember, pretty dark for a shonen series. Though most shonen series are actually quite dark. Like, for example, Death Note is technically shonen. Like, a lot of people don't consider it shonen, but it is. I'm just really nervous about that 1% crit rate. And there's no real way Vale can get in there. Although, admittedly, this is the last chance to use Houses Unite, so let's go.
Right where I want you.
Oh, that's kind of interesting. It doesn't actually show the other lords. It's just you. You only get the other lords if you're using, you know, if you're, adjacent to Byleth. It's actually a little disappointing, having seen the better version of it first. Oh yay, Grasping Void for 1 extra damage. That was so necessary. And yet more antitoxins, and I don't want to get rid of, like, my Warp and Rescue Staves. Considering I have Restore, I probably don't really need that antitoxin. And I'm another thing I'm sure I've said before, but every time I see antitoxin, I think about, like the movie Balto, that animated movie about, like, with the wolf. I specifically remember this one line: they are shipping antitoxin by rail.
Oh, this looks cool!
And then that fails, and they have to use the dogs.
I'm getting sleepy.
It's sort of in a montage of all of the ways they try and ship antitoxins, and in the end, they have to use the sled dogs because everything fails. Okay, there are reinforcements coming from the rear, so kind of glad that I'm out of there, but I have made decent progress into this map at this point, and unfortunately, Amber is out of Tiki right now. Now, these guys, from what I remember from testing this, they generally don't move until you, like, start attacking them, but there's only one backup attacker in there, though. Only 1 stack of poison on you right now. And, well, I mean, okay, that technically is in range, we'll see. But I was trying to snipe you. I don't know why you haven't moved yet. I like those pools of water there. You know, I actually just realized something. Like, wait, this map is in FE6. It's the Paralog. Well, you know, they're called side quests in those games. Paralog is the fancy term for them. That was first introduced in Awakening, I think, the term Paralog. But anyway, let's not get into another tangent. Probably don't want to get hit by 2 generals, so let's just snipe you down with a Bolongal, which was not in the GBA games, I think. But yeah, this was the chapter where you got Armads. In fact, the FE7 map was a reference to the FE6 map. And unlike the, although yeah, this one did have Fog of War on the FE6 version, but unlike the like the Eliwood legendary weapon map in FE7, it's kind of loosely based on the location of Durandal in FE6, but the map itself looks quite different. But also the fire traps don't, like, the fire traps going off every single turn in, the original was, FE6, I mean, was, like, the original version of the map was that was a bit, a little bit excessive. I believe they changed that in the FE7 version. Only fire tiles you're standing on actually go off. Oh, that's a Radiant Bow. If that is a Radiant Bow, maybe Clan is totally safe. We'll see.
Sort of like that, maybe?
But yeah, that was quite a different map. Aside from the lack of Fog of War, the FE7 version of this map, I remember being roughly the same as the FE6 version in terms of its overall appearance and layout. Okay, you do have Celica, but I don't know if... Okay, wait, before I do that, let's see if I end up needing healing. Because how much damage are you going to take from... I actually wonder about whether Shield Gambit will be useful here. So if I were to go here, and then use Shield Gambit while equipping the Javelin, it means that if this, and I'm pretty sure the AI can't see the Gambit, so I'm pretty sure you'll attack and then get your range attack blocked and then die. Yeah, it was around about this point in the map where I failed the Iron Man, because Hector got ding-dongified by a Fire Mage. And, oh right, that's a Great Axe, so you're dead anyway. Gotta love the stupid AI on enemies with great weapons. Okay, Draco Shield, that's actually important. So it wasn't you that I was concerned with, it was the Sage. So let's see if the Sage... it did, okay, so this should get blocked. Yeah, there's 0 damage. I can't really remember using Shield Gambit much when I first played Three Houses.
Don't waste my time.
Just realized Lapis still has Dimitri. I mean, I guess he's her designated member of the trio, but still. Yeah, apparently with a lot of the other Three Houses lords in this game, they mostly just, like, their conversations are kind of restricted to, oh, you remind me of so-and-so. Like, I think with, like, I'm pretty sure Amber gets Edelgard because, like, you look like Ferdinand. Personally, I don't think Amber resembles Ferdinand in anything but appearance, but still. And Vale has a terrible hit rate against you. Okay, thankfully she still hit, though.
To live in peace.
Yeah, I remember there being, like, a really dangerous promoted enemy, like, around about here in the fog in the original. Wait a minute, isn't this map, like, flipped in FE6? I'm getting everything mixed up right now. I'm just trying to remember because I barely remember this was even in FE6, but I remember it being one of the more mild, like, a lot of people don't like the side quest chapters in Fire Emblem 6 because, admittedly, they are a lot more gimmicky than is typical of FE6's game design, and as I've said, like, a few times before, I do think FE6 has surprisingly good game design for, among the GBA Fire Emblems. And yes, speaking of enemy AI being dumb, if I position you so that the general will attack you, then it will immediately die.
Quick work of that.
Unless I need momentum to kill. And that, I kind of made that mistake with the Sage, but I still one-round it anyway. So, we'll see. We shall see. But okay then, yeah, these Wolf Knights are on you pretty fast. I almost wonder whether I do want to use the Smash weapon here, because this might open up another avenue of attack. It's kind of rare that I use Smash weapons for the actual Smash effect, but it does have its uses. So if I keep you there, you're getting poisoned, but I doubt I'll need Divinely Inspiring to secure some kills here. So, okay, Actually, hang on. I might be able to get a Goddess Dance going. Yeah, so you can move all the way up to there. So, okay, if I move you there, Clan has Canter, so he could hit you, Canter into one of the other 4 tiles. Here we go. Does mean, unfortunately, I don't think Amber will be able to do anything.
Strength of the stewards.
Oh, then use an Antitoxin, but, I mean, he doesn't really need to.
Whoa! Engage!
Just because that would put him out of Wrath. Oh, actually, Life Sphere has negative synergy with Wrath, I just realized. So maybe Amber with Tiki is not the best idea. But, yeah, we'll see. It's been kind of fun with that Vantage. So my idea with this Goddess Dance is that at the very least I can maybe... I do think if I can get to that warrior, Clan will be able to one-round him. And now this Swordmaster... Yeah, preferably I need to critical.
Nothing short of victory.
Okay, great!
We'll be together forever.
Kind of like how, like, the Dragon Critical with Tiki is just like, you just sort of go with your... Just jump on them with your big feet. Almost makes you look like a kangaroo dragon.
I had to stop you.
And I've got Seedol back. But, wait, that's a lot of enemies. Oh, that's Wolf Knights, that explains it. Okay, so yeah, the plan here was this should be a 1-round. Because warriors, they tend not to be super fast and engaged, and they don't like magic, so despite their massive HP, they do tend to die quite easily to magic. And I do kind of like that. It gives mages something else to kill besides generals. Yeah, see, I'm not entirely sure if I can... No, wait, no. Yeah, Seedol can get to Amber. Just wonder whether it's a smart idea to put... Like, normally it is a smart idea to put Amber in range of a bunch of enemies, but, oh, those are ranged weapons. That is a weakness of this setup, but it is kind of similar to the weakness of the Killer Axe kind of combo with people like this. So maybe it's best if for now I just stay here. Okay, that's cool, and we get to see the Star Sphere working, and it didn't really do a whole lot. Yeah, this is about the point where enemies start getting poisoned. Hi there, Wolf Knights, and yeah, as we established... Oh, actually, no, yeah, I do one-round you.
Who's next?
Thanks to having a +4 Armor Slayer and pretty good strength on Lapis right now. Another... Yeah, you'll be getting a lot of antitoxins out of this map, more than you'll really know what to do with. Yeah, this is still a bit of a problem, range attacks. It's often said that, like, the whole Vantage Wrath combo essentially gives you unlimited durability, but only against one-range enemies, and, I guess this is kind of on brand for FE7, because in FE7, okay.
Oh,
Oh, that was a break, yeah. I hope Clan is okay. Oh, yikes!
I'm sorry, Divine One.
That was smart! Normally you would die to that.
I almost had a chance.
That was me equipping the wrong weapon there, because yeah, neither of you would have been able to attack. It's the 11 Swords' fatal flaw, the fact that it does get broken by lances, because it is in fact a sword. Okay, that time you went for Clan first, okay. Does that mean the spear is going for Amber? No, it's... Oh, it's going for Clan second, huh, okay. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense for the AI to prioritize going for Break first.
The Divine Dragon.
But I'm not really sure what the logic behind it reversing its target, like its attackers there was. Oh, it was that! Maybe? And I'm not sure if it would have known that that other Great Knight would die, but still. So okay then, the wolves are coming. Guess that fits with this 3 houses emblem. I'm still like, this is totally not really related to this particular map, but I'm still really surprised that Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes actually included the Ashen Wolves in the base game, like with no download required. Like, that was really cool, honestly. Never really got to play around with them all that much, because by the time I actually recruited them in the main 3 houses, I was, you know, suffering from enormous burnout on the game. Huh. I mean, that's probably a terrible idea. Also, you can fly over there, but there are a bunch of bow users and Excalibur users to kind of dissuade that. That's honestly pretty cool. But I was just thinking whether I engage.
Emblem, engage!
And use the combat art with a red banana just for style points. Because, yeah, that is a one-shot, which means I don't get an extra poison stack on me.
No obstacle will stand.
Okay, that would be Edelgard's quote, then. For those who are wondering why I don't know many of Edelgard's battle lines, despite me actually having played Crimson Flower, well, it's because the one run I did of Crimson Flower, I soloed it. It was a joke one where I soloed it with Grappler Hanneman. I treated him as the actual lord of that game. Also, Edelgard herself just got horrendously speed screwed for me. Like, she's apparently supposed to be pretty good. It's just like, I don't know.
Should I have held back?
But yeah, basically, like, that run was just like a combination of leaving untrained Edelgard behind at the start of the map while Grappler Hanneman dealt with everything. Okay, Divinely Inspiring can help there, though also there'll be a chain attack. I may as well get a little bit of damage on you in that case, even though, I've still got that Revival Stone. It's kind of a shame that you can't give one of those to yourself, because if anything, Amber probably needs one of those more than anyone right now, just because it would give him, like, it would mean that he could stay on, like, low HP the Wrath, and then still, you know, potentially, not die to, like, and, you know, have a buffer against dying.
Here we go.
It would be cool if I crit with this, but I did not.
I'm getting sleepy.
I don't know if there's a different animation for critting with Tail Smash. Okay, I can dance for Jean and heal, because he is basically my healer on this route. Okay, there we go. Didn't take any damage from that one. I would have if the chain attack didn't hit. Haven't actually used Corrin yet. Right, we have... Oh, right, those also are longbows, so I can't lure you, because unless I use, like, thunder, but in that case, I probably don't one round. So now is the case of, like, can I actually beat this map before the Wolf Knights reach me? See, I think I vaguely remember there being reinforced, but this has just been the entire... Actually, no, I do counter if I have you, so let's do that. But, yeah, this is just the map of, like... Did it really work like this? Because, like, in FE6, like, I would love a Fire Emblem 6 remake just because, like, I've gained so much new appreciation for the gameplay of that game lately. Like, to me, it's probably the closest game to Engage, besides, like, even Fate's Conquest isn't all that similar. Okay, yeah, you can only take one of those, but at least it does mean that I was able to lure one.
Stay focused.
Aha, and that provokes everything, I'm guessing. Yeah, sometimes enemy AIs are set up in, like, groups, so that, like, if one enemy in them gets provoked, the whole group gets provoked. Speaking of which, yeah, I've got a silver dagger. Hector will move, and you'll know when he's moving, because he will directly tell you that he's moving. I'm pretty sure I have all the chests right now. Aha, now that Hector's air defenses are down... Well, firstly, I can, don't really like having to use physic for this, but still.
You really saved my skin.
Actually got a few flyers moving in here for a flanking attack. I actually like this setup that I ended up going with, though I will say... right, that's a bow user. But I will say that Amber with Tiki has not really been as good as I was hoping. I might have to switch him back to Ike next map, especially since the next map, actually does benefit from a very good,
Here we go.
great ether user, and also the fact that you just want Ike in the next map, because reasons, you'll see.
We'll be together forever.
So maybe I will actually experiment with the Tiki, combination.
It's about time I got moving.
And there we go. I mean, let's go Lucina.
Emblem, engage.
I still don't think that Parthia will note Parthia is not going to do enough. But I mean, I can at least try for a crit here. I remember when people used to call Parthia Partia. Again, it's just like a lot of the early fan translations did not understand the mythological references that people were trying to make. Well, that the original writers were trying to make.
As your steward.
Although on that note, there's actually kind of a fun thing about mythological references, but I can't go into it here because I don't have, it involves Brionac, let's just say, and my user of that is not currently on this map, so I'll talk about that when we get there.
Phew.
It's like the kind of torches in this temple, it does look oddly Egyptian, and I don't know if that's really, like, what they were kind of originally going for with this place. Because FE7's, like, not so much lore, but FE7's, like, naming schemes and all that, it is very Arthurian. That's actually one thing that I am, like, a little bit, like, honestly, like, yeah, so...
I know just where to strike.
Okay, kind of fits when using the fists.
Should I have held back?
But, like, I do like how there's theme naming in Engage with every one of, like, the main nations, but one thing that I do kind of miss from some of the earlier games is a lot of them did have a very clear, like, mythological identity in where they drew their names from. So, like, for example, Marth's games are very, very, Greco-Roman. In fact, even a lot of the character, like, the class designs looked very, Greek and Roman, in the original. And I believe every single one of them has a ranged weapon, so running in Amber is not going to do much good. Yggdrasil genealogy, pretty much entirely Norse. Like, it's one of the most heavily Norse mythology-inspired games I've ever seen in my life. Like, almost every name there is from Norse mythology. FE7, heavily Arthurian. A lot of the names come from the Song of Roland, which I think is a French work. Which is cool. And then Sacred Stones is predominantly Hebrew.
I'll manage.
Like, you've got names like Joshua and I think even Ephraim, I think, is a Hebrew name. Path of Radiance was kind of a mishmash of everything. And Three Houses was very Celtic. Although mostly just in Fargus. So, like, that also had a bit of a weird thing to it because, because every one of the nations had a different theme. Like, Adrestia was German, Fargus was Celtic, and, although, really the setting as a whole, because Fodlan, that's Celtic. So yeah, like, in general, Three Houses mostly Celtic, but Fargus had the majority of the Celtic names, while Adrestia was heavily German, and, Leicester Alliance was Shakespeare. Which is kind of... I remember a lot of people looking at, like, the... Because a lot of the characters in the Leicester Alliance had King Lear-themed names, and King Lear is, like, one of the most depressing Shakespeare plays, which got a lot of people really worried, and then it turned out that, actually, they were, like, the least depressing route. So that was interesting. But okay, I can get a Byleth adjacent combo going, but... Question of, do I want to try and take out as many enemies as I can, but also it's probably better if I start going for Hector. Okay, so he's considered to be always engaged with himself, so he has impenetrable. So he has plus 30% to his defense and resistance. And with adaptability, he now has plus 2 to resistance, but it's not like that's really going to save him. I love the fist bump that Hector does in his, like, pose there. Now, I'm going to do this just for the comp... I forgot to bring Lyn. It's okay, that's an easy conversation to show in bonus footage because I can just Astral Storm him from halfway across the map. In fact, I'll show that now.
Hey, look who's here. It's great to see you, Lyn.
Likewise, Hector. Ready to put my skills to the test, for old time's sake?
Remember that technique I practiced that's good against axemen and heavy armor? Well, here it comes again!
You bet. But since we're friends, I think I'll have to go extra hard on you. Hope that's all right.
Wouldn't have it any other way.
So yeah, that's Hector and Lyn's conversation, but now...
Okay, give me all you've got.
It's definitely going to take everything I have to stand up to that axe of yours.
Or I can just obliterate you with magic before I need to deal with your axe.
But I'm not giving up. I set out to prove my worth to you, and that's what I'm going to do.
Good to hear. Have at it then.
Didn't Hector have distant counter when he first showed up in Heroes? No, it's probably Ike. I think, so the interesting thing is that, like, with both Ike and Hector being in this game, like, Ike is an admitted, like, reference to Hector. And I'm doing way more with, I assume I'm doing way more with the Armor Slayer. I'm doing a little more with the Armor Slayer. I mean, this isn't really going to do a whole ton, but, I mean... better than nothing, right? Was that Byleth or Claude?
Let's do this. That's it.
It does kind of suck that all three of them only show up in the Houses Unite Plus version. Lol, Claude, 0 damage. Yeah. I mean, I would say that Hector is pretty resilient to arrows in his home game, but he's not really. I mean... actually, it's more like archers do as little damage to him as they do to most things in FE7. Yeah, the Elite... yeah, well, actually, no. Fire Emblem 6 is a pretty good game for archers. That was a fun-looking combat, because, yeah, as you can see there, Hector is doubling me. One of the rare cases where you get to see somebody double... well, somebody double-double. I can't actually get into close combat with Clan and, dance for him with Seed all at the same time, but I should be able to do this. So I do this, I do that, then I finish that health with Amber, and then I dance for Clan and it's over. Or Ivy can finish. Oh, I don't know if Ivy will finish it, we'll see. Yes, let's just go scratch you with claws.
Here we go.
Hope this looks cool.
And you know what? Seeing Hector fighting a dragon just reminds me of, and like, you know, an emblem that can make anyone a dragon just reminds me of... I remember an old hack video, called Hector Dragon versus Fire Dragon, and it involved, well, Hector being hacked into turning into a dragon, and it was hilarious because he becomes this disembodied blue and white head. Oh, well, I actually do one round you just with Ivy. I don't even need Fanny, but for overkill, let's do this with Fanny. But yeah, because I believe that, like, the only part of the dragon sprite in FE7 that actually is moving is the head. The rest of it is just part of the background. Oh, really? Just barely. But okay, yeah, so overall, that wasn't a particularly difficult map, but I had that mess up with Clan there. That just goes to show the weaknesses of the Levin sword.
You actually managed to beat me. I'm impressed.
I take that to mean you're happy with what you saw?
No doubt about it. One glimpse of your fighting spirit was more than enough. It took all I had to hold my own against you. You'd be fine even without my help, I'm sure.
No. We need all the strength we can get, and you've got plenty of it.
Nah, Hector's emblem's more about defense than strength, personally.
I couldn't have gotten through your defenses without my allies at my side.
Treasure that feeling. I used to think I could protect everyone I cared about with nothing but my own strength. I couldn't have been more wrong. It was only with the help of trusted friends and allies that I survived the Black Fang.
Now this does seem like yet another blah 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 bonds blah conversation, but it does actually sum up a lot of Hector's growth. Like, one of the things that a lot of people these days have gone back and realized is that Hector is a bit of a deconstruction of toxic masculinity, in that he thinks that he can solve all his problems alone and that he doesn't need to show emotion and that he has to be tough all the time. And basically, he has a whole bunch of repressed anger that just eats away at him. It's interesting.
Your friends must have been really good people.
Ah, the best. Talking about them fills me with pride, even now. I appreciate your determination and desire to forge ahead.
I was about to say, like, Hector's like, oh yeah, they're the best, until Eliwood's son started dating my daughter.
Does that mean you'll join us?
For as long as you need it, my axe is yours.
Thank you, Emblem Hector. I'm looking forward to letting you loose on the battlefield.
Oh yeah, I was just thinking about that whole, so I'm to die on the battlefield, am I? That whole exchange.
That's what I like to hear.
Yeah, that whole exchange from FE7 that everyone was like, what? And then Japanese players were like, yeah, it's a giant foreshadowing thing for FE6.
Good match, Lynn. Can we talk for a second?
Oh, good match, and she wasn't even there. Whoops.
I was half expecting you to ask for a rematch. What's on your mind?
Just wanted to make sure you were all right. I got a little carried away in that last round.
I guess maybe they sparred off screen.
Thanks for your concern. It was a heavy blow, but I'm fine. Actually, I'm really happy.
You're happy to get hit with an axe?
Not exactly. I'm reminded of all the time we spent together. You, me, and Eliwood.
You know that line about you're happy to get hit with an axe? That line could easily have come out of one of FE7's support conversations.
We trained hard and fought harder, but those days are full of happy memories for me. Seeing you fight with everything you had just now gives me that same feeling.
I understand completely. I'm more relaxed going into battle with you, because I know you'll always have my back. And because you're a cherished friend. I trust you with my life.
I would say that's sort of painful because I ship these two really, really hard, but I mean, there's nothing saying that, you know, someone you're married to can't also be a friend.
Good. I hope you'll let me protect that life now, instead of charging ahead by yourself.
Don't worry. I won't ever leave you behind.
Yeah, more classic Lynn. I once saw someone say that it's easy to interpret that conversation between Hector and Lynn as like a couple that drifted apart, and I guess that does sort of make sense. Like, as much as I do ship those two really hard, I wouldn't actually be opposed to the idea that, like, Lynn and Hector ended up going their separate ways, that, like, maybe their marriage didn't actually work out and she went to the plains eventually. Like, I know, like, normally that kind of sucks when it's something you really ship, but I mean, it's weird that I can vaguely see that happening, but I still ship them anyway. Yeah, I do really like... It's more that, like, Lynn and Hector get a lot of, like, development... Oh, I'm not authorized for that tiger cat. That's sad. Get a lot of, like, development in the main story, and also I just really, really don't like most of their other... Well, I mean, Lynn and Kent is fine. Lynn and Eliwood, most people act like it doesn't exist because, you know, there's Lynn and, like, Eliwood has other, like, more popular options. And then, you know, I like, oh, actually, no, I'm fine with Hector and Farina, but I do not like Hector and Florina at all. I honestly feel like it's just as bad as Saizo and Baruka's localized C in Fates. Like, there's barely any dialogue from Florina in those conversations at all.
Not bad.
And I feel like their personalities are just too conflicting. Like, they're two opposites. It doesn't make sense, in my opinion.
divine one.
Hector and Foreigner, though, I can see that happening. Like, Foreigner is a lot more similar to Hector, and yeah, they've... Although it is a bit
That's
weird
right.
that, you know, you pay her 20,000 gold to join the army, but still. And then, yes, in this episode I discussed Fire Emblem 7 ships, and then Lyn and Wrath, I don't like that one very much. A lot of people say, oh, it's canon because Sue, but to that I say, Wrath has green hair. Wrath's father has green hair. She can very easily get that from his side of the family. Yeah, I mean, Wrath actually has some, like, I think Wrath and Will is an alright support. Like, I don't dislike Wrath as a character, but I don't like Wrath and Lyn as a pairing. Oh, bond conversations are available. Would that be Amber and Tiki? Oh no, it's Lapis and Dimitri, eh?
You praised my needlework, but as royalty, you must find sewing to be a foreign concept.
Oh, he finds it the exact opposite of a foreign concept, but for all the wrong reasons.
Not so. I had a classmate who taught me, though I was still very much a novice.
Mercedes, right?
I did break some needles and scissors. I found it difficult to moderate my strength when sewing.
Oh yeah, he also broke the scissors, I remember that now.
That's so true. Needles and scissors are quite brittle. No one's ever understood that before.
Weird thing to bond with an emblem about, but hey, it's kind of nice to see that. Now I just need to find somebody who'll bond with Dimitri over accidentally eating grass. Wait, no, that's probably Bonet, and it wouldn't have been accidental. But with that, I'm probably gonna rethink the whole Amber Dragon plan next time. Because where we're going, I'm gonna need Ike. See you all then. In fact, speaking of which, yeah, shipping. That's why I need Ike.